you can't take 100 females and put them in the desert for 30 days eating nothing but MREs.
Built this thing from the bottom, they tore it down, I rebuilt it. I give myself a task, you can bet your ass I fulfill it. Yeah, man, I'm talking about Willis, one of the realest to try. My family.
Pulling Thread Podcast episode what?
69!
What is it?
111.
No
111.
way. We haven't been doing this that long.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
The
No
fucking-
way.
No way.
So what's going on? What are you aware of? Did you see your boy Hegseth?
What about him? High-fiving people?
Said men and women have equal rights, so women can fill any combat role if they can perform and pass the exact same tests that men do. You want equal rights? Now you have equal rights.
Unfortunately, you know, the longer the current administration is in, like the longer the current administration is, I would almost say that they're doing more damage than good.
How so?
Because what Pete may not equate or understand is, if I say the men and women have to meet the same standard, you have to meet the same standard, then what the fucking powers that be do is lower the standard so they're equal. That's all they'll do. They'll just lower the standard.
Do you know there's already some women in CAG units? Not trigger pullers, but like support and shit.
Yeah. I mean, there's
some photos out there.
Females operating the force have been doing good things within the military structure for a long time. Okay? They've been doing good things for the structure for a long time. But at the combat level, so if we're talking a rifle platoon or Red Cell or Delta Force, I don't care what you say, it becomes a detriment to the overall unit because of the sexual tensions within that unit, no matter what. Anybody who says that that's not true is fucking lying. Now, your female soldier may be fucking on point. Like, on point. Know her job. Squared away. Just wants to fucking accomplish the mission. That does not mean it does not still have a detriment to the rest of the group, because the rest of the group is thinking about that particular soldier. And time again, even though the Department of Defense doesn't want to admit it, time and time again, female soldiers and male soldiers are caught in very compromising positions, doing very non-military things, because it's men and women trapped in these fucking environments that keep close proximity. Of course, shit is going to happen.
Did you see the new Marine Corps recruiting video?
No, I haven't.
It's Hegseth, I guess.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
I actually, the real Marine Corps video, I don't know if you've seen JD Vance.
Maybe that's what I'm talking
about. Vance went to... Did he go to Pendleton, North Carolina? Yeah, North Vance Carolina. Out there shooting machine guns and
Barretts and shit.
Here's the reality. The reality is, JD Vance is like Trump is. Let's just put it this way. Trump's not bad. Trump does kind of like do the right things, meaning he goes to the bases and he stands in the chow line and he eats the same food everybody else does. He sits at the tables with the enlisted. But Vance understands the culture, and when Vance is talking to Marines or sailors or whoever he's talking to, he's trying to motivate them. He's like, we are the best, you are the best. He's doing the things that we used to do for military service. We don't do that much. The leadership doesn't do that anymore. What they do is they placate, right? They just placate. They're like, oh, those are those guys over there. And they just placate to it versus, the reality is sometimes you got to get the pom-poms out and do the little cheerleader thing and tell them what a great job they're doing and how important their job is. And that's what's important for the service. Because right now, there's no real motivation out there. You got a lot of guys thinking that service is about the college or service is about the pay.
Well, for a lot of them, it is.
That's never what the service has been about.
That's what they went in for.
So,
and they find themselves surprised when they have to deploy.
Yes. But circling back to women in the military, I will say this. The one of the greatest things about having females in service, the greatest things is the more females you have, the more services you have to have. So the more infrastructure you have to push where those females are, because the reality is you can't take 100 females and put them in the desert for 30 days eating nothing but MREs and fucking buffalo water out of a buffalo. You can't do that. They have to have services necessary to sustain their life.
Why? What happens if you do?
They just fucking fall apart. That's why. That's why That's why we can take showers in the forward deployed combat bases. We can, because females change. Like, the reality is, I know some old sailors will understand this. When you were taking showers aboard ships in the old days before females, it's this fucking plastic shower head that had a button on it. Okay, you push the button, you got yourself wet, you hung the thing back up, it turned off, you soaped yourself up, and then you fucking hose yourself down, and you got out. Now you can sit in there for as long as you want, showering, having a good time, because the females aboard ship. The quality of life, the reality is, the closer, I hate to say it, but the closer females get to the front lines, the greater the quality of life. If it's just men in the desert, they don't give two shits. They don't give you'll shit in a trench. You'll have toilets. Like, the reality is, if it's men in the desert, you'll have a line of toilets, no dividers, everybody just shitting, looking at each other. Somebody will come right next to you, piss in the hole next to you. But you bring females up, now suddenly we have dividers and air-conditioned shower units, and so the closer the females get to the front, the more convenient everything becomes. But you have to understand that none of that is what wins wars. None of it. The fucking $1 billion that we spend to get a Burger King anywhere in the world in 24 hours doesn't win wars. Not at all. As a matter of fact, the more you make it like home, the more people miss home, and the less focused they are on the mission. Anyways, I do like taking showers, though, ladies. Thank you.
Zelensky said that Putin won't be alive long. You saw that?
Yeah, they blew his limousine up.
Okay, so what he actually said, because I saw this, but nobody ever reported beyond it. He said, Putin won't be alive very long. He's old. Everybody cuts that piece off. 3 or 4 days later, after he says that, that motorcade was blown up.
Yeah.
Nobody has seen Putin since then. There's not been any releases. Nobody's even, from the Russian side apparently, nobody's even mentioned that this thing happened. There is some footage of a motorcade being blown up, what looks to be a limousine. Who knows whose it is or whatever. But nothing's been said of that. Have you heard anything more about that?
I haven't heard anything more about that, but I thought again, since the motorcade, I thought I saw video of Putin meeting with the challenger in France, the female challenger in France against Marcon.
Okay, well, she's
going to well, maybe she'll go to jail.
4 years.
Yeah, two suspended,
yeah. 2 going to jail. Yeah. She's the closest person to Trump, apparently. Mm-hmm. She would be the person that we would want in office.
This is the problem. So if we think about what's going on in Europe, contrary to all the fucking libtards within the European,
Europe's fallen.
The European political structure it hasn't fallen yet,
but it's very fucking close.
Yes,
it's about to fall.
The more
Germany's going to fall, Europe's going to fall.
The more
UK and such.
The more they suppress, the more they suppress, and this is kind of
it's like fucking 1984 over there.
But this is kind of the problem or the thing that happened in the United States, and part of the reason why Donald Trump was elected president, is the more you suppress a political party, the more people want to be part of it. If you're really afraid of, we'll just say right-wing ideas, right? If you're really afraid of right-wing ideas, the way to be successful against those ideas is to show that those ideas they don't work and they're not good. But the only thing that the European the European Union or the cabal of liberals that are running Europe is showing everybody is their system doesn't work. Their system doesn't work. It's collapsing all those countries into fucking sheer chaos. And so what you're really doing by doing that is pushing people over to they're on the verge. I do believe that Europe as a whole is on the verge of the European Union completely imploding and not existing, and a revolution that's going to make the French Revolution look like a fucking daycare event.
Good.
Meaning that they're going to go through now. They're going to go through. I believe that French, German, Belgians, Italian. They're going to go through and they're going to clean house, and it's going to be bad. Like, fortunately for the United States, we had a transition to power that didn't turn into this revolution that everybody thought it would. Okay.
You think it would have?
I don't know. We're a little bit different. The United States is a little bit different than Europe. Europe is, the European countries are, to include Britain, are actually going out and using the full force of the law against their political rivals. We kind of danced with it here. The Democrats, they used the fucking Department of Justice against Donald Trump. But
yeah, you've not seen any arrests.
At any time.
Nobody's hung.
At any time, they could have just arrested him and put him in jail, right? They could have.
Arrested who?
Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, they still might.
No, they're not going to.
The big talk is that come January 1, I don't know what the significance of that is, that they will try to impeach him again. They just won a bunch of seats through Wisconsin or something. They just
not enough.
A bunch of stuff just changed, apparently. Not in our favor.
Yeah, not a couple of seats, not in our favor, but it's not enough.
They do keep showing all this Doge stuff, but nobody's being fucking punished for it.
Well, the issue is this.
And maybe it's coming.
No, my issue is this. The Republican Party, the Republican Party is the same party as the Democratic Party. They are dragging their feet on all this.
Yeah, they have 8 of them just jumped fucking to the Democratic side to block some of Trump shit.
We have full control. If they really wanted to fix things, they could have had laws ready to go to pass. This is no different than, the reality is this administration is going to be no different than the Obama administration. When Obama was elected president, he had the Senate and the House. They could have passed anything. They could have fucking refunded everybody's college tuition. They could have passed whatever the fuck they want. Healthcare for everybody. Right, wrong, it doesn't matter. They had the capability of doing it. And they didn't do it.
Yeah, instead he tripled my health insurance.
They didn't do shit. Like, the reality is the Democrats under Obama didn't do shit. Midterms came, everything kind of balanced out again. And so then Obama could be like, well, I can't pass this shit because the midterms. I don't have full control anymore. Well, you had it. Same thing with Trump. Trump out of the gate, he had the capability to do whatever he wanted to do. Instead of doing meaningful shit, so really fucking doing things with the full support of Congress, he's signing fucking things that can be turned over tomorrow.
That will be turned over
under the next president, right? So,
what do you think about all the? What do you think about all the third term shit? Is he just fucking with him?
He's fucking with him. Yeah, he's trolling him. He's trolling with him, and again, I'm semi happy that Donald Trump is the president of the United States. I'm definitely happy it's not Kamala Harris. I would have voted for Tulsi Gabbard because I think she's a level-headed player in the field.
We've not heard a whole lot out of her.
Well, that's because she's in the fucking secret spook world. But again, we've put all these people, Trump put all these people in these positions that the Democrats fought tooth and nail not to get in these positions. And they're not doing anything. Pam Bondi's not doing anything.
No,
fucking Kash Patel.
Yeah,
Kash Patel. I mean,
doing shit.
Again, I'll give it to Kash Patel that all the top 10 were arrested. So
the top 10 of what?
Criminals in the United States.
Brown guys?
Well, I mean, maybe they're brown. I don't know what color they were.
Top 10 illegals.
No, meaning we had they have the most wanted list, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he cleared that in the first week he was in office.
Yeah, but then ain't the motherfucker sits on the
But-
post office.
Yeah, that's what he's talking. It's the most wanted. He cleared that. Now, what that means is
They just sent 7 more to El Salvador
Yeah.
or wherever. Why isn't that plane not full? Like, why aren't you
why?
fucking pushing them?
It's because of the fucking. It's because of
Judges.
the judges. Yeah.
Okay, so what about this chat app, Signal?
Non-starter doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So you think they included the dude on purpose, or do you think
So it's I don't know if you were paying attention or if you saw it. It was a dude underneath Secretary of Defense, a Chinese national, married to a Chinese national, who somehow is in the loop, who is the one who added that reporter to that conversation.
interesting? I
Now-
did not know that.
Again, the reality is the reality of what Signal what that was nothing. Like, it was nothing. It really was nothing. No times, no dates, no targets, no,
Trump acted like he didn't even know what Signal was.
because he probably doesn't use it.
So if you wanted to find out what your adversaries were doing, invent an app, right? If you're the FBI, invent an app, put it out, tell everybody it's totally secure and it can't be hacked. Meanwhile, you have the back door to all of it.
Yeah, there's no.
And then there's a catalog of everything.
There's nothing guys. There's nothing,
Nothing that's secure.
That's on your, like, even I think it's Blackwater guys coming out with, like, he's got this phone where
Prince,
he's like,
yeah. Do you believe
it's
that's
gonna be
fucking?
it's gonna be the most secure. No, it ain't.
It's already out, yeah.
It doesn't. There's no way. The NSA is already fucking in there going, my God, look at all these penis pictures he has in his phone. Yeah, but again, the Signal thing is a non-starter because he didn't give any information. Like, there was no real information
Did
in
you
there.
see who the reporter was?
No.
What he's famous for? He was the Russia guy. This
Yeah,
dude, anything that was against Trump, this motherfucker was at the tip of the spear for it.
I think the problem for the Trump administration is Trump understands that the deep state doesn't like him, right? That they, for whatever reason, hey guys, Trump is probably the most Democrat president we've had since Kennedy.
He should bring some SFB guys in and just
So,
be like, hey,
yeah.
take care of these problems.
But what I don't think he understands the depth of how they will go to try and discredit him, right? All it is a smear campaign, because the Signal thing was nothing.
I mean, the whole other side of the media is just
'Cause-
it doesn't matter if, hey, I'm going to give everybody $100,000 in their bank account. If Trump said it, they would be fucking completely against it.
Because here's the truth about that whole conversation. When people are like, oh my God, exposing war plans. The truth of the conversation is this, and nobody will say this because they either hate him or they like him, whatever. The truth of the conversation is this. Donald Trump could have went to the podium and went, Houthis, at 6 p.m. tomorrow, we're going to attack these 5 locations. We're going to use fucking F-18s off of this goddamn ship. There's nothing you can do about it.
Has the Houthi thing stopped?
No, they're still bombing. I mean, we're still bombing them. But what I'm saying is, no U.S. assets were exposed. No U.S. assets were compromised.
Changed nothing.
It changed absolutely nothing. Right now, if they were on Signal app going, hey, we're actually going to send 10th Special Forces to fucking Ukraine.
Through this border.
To fucking help fight the Russians. Now you have a problem. Because Russia is, I hate to say it, guys, because they're not. They're not a peer adversary. They're not a peer adversary. They would be beneath the capabilities of the United States. But they're close to it and could use that intelligence to their advantage.
What do you think about being friendly with Russia? What do you think about doing business with Russia? Do you see the hat Sonny put up? It's the bubble letters that says Russia, but it just says USA, and then the other letters are a different color, right? It's Russia, USA.
We have been doing business with Russia
Sure.
since before World War II. what is clear is,
Would you rather have them as a front-facing enemy, or would you rather be friendly with them?
well, you again,
And can you
you
do
can't
one or the other?
You can't have an $800 billion military industrial complex if there are no boogeymen. Russia and China have been the boogeymen of the United States, and that is why we spend more money on national defense than any place on the planet. So you can't. It's the reason why. It's kind of the reason why every time Russia made a new tank, we were like, it's the best tank in the planet. We need more money. We need more money. It's the best tank in the planet, even though
They're made of plywood.
it wasn't realistic, and we knew it. It's kind of like when we sent 160, the SAR guys, down into, I think, Ethiopia to steal the first Hind D helicopter because we were so afraid of the Hind D helicopter.
Do you see there's still
And then once-
you see there's still a Hind D that's missing and unaccounted for?
But
I
once
saw it yesterday.
But once we got that helicopter, once we got our hands on that helicopter and realized, holy shit, these motherfuckers are 60 years behind us, we didn't even keep it. We gave it to a fucking museum. We were like, yeah, you can have that shit. That's some bullshit. That is where we are at with these guys. Like, you can't, I talked about this the other day. The fucking, their 5th generation fighter at the Paris Air Show with fucking Phillips head screws in it. The Phillips head screw has a fucking larger cross radar example than our entire airplane. But it has to be the boogeyman. You have to be like, oh God. They got, like, when we talk about, again, when you hear a motherfucker on CNN or Fox News going, the Chinese Navy has the Chinese Navy is the biggest fleet in the world. Part of that fleet is fishing boats, motherfucker. Fishing boats, not real ships.
Yeah, Walt Disney had the 3rd largest Navy fleet.
They have an aircraft carrier that caught on fire. I mean, come on. But that's how you get multi-billion dollars to fucking have a 11 carrier fleet out in the fucking Pacific and the Atlantic. It's how you have we just retired these fucking ships. We just retired these, what the fuck is the name of them? All the hubbubaloo, it's those pointy arrow ships that we fucking made that cost billions and billions of dollars. We're only in service for 2 years.
The stealth ship.
2 years. And we fucking shit-canned them. We're getting rid of them. But we're also making more of them. That's waste, fraud, and abuse. It's really waste, fraud, and abuse. But that's how you keep the fucking Navy fucking moving forward. And that's where we're at. We're not. The course of the future of America has nothing to do with freedom, liberties, and it has everything to do with the Department of Defense.
What is on Diego Garcia?
It's basically just a giant staging area, B-52s.
We just went in and cleaned it up over the last couple of years, right? It was pretty much just fucking like not in use? Question mark?
No, we've always been using Diego Garcia. Okay. So the when you hear about
what's it attached to?
It's just an island. Okay. Diego Garcia is just an island. So there's a large air. I don't know if we own it.
Like whose land is it?
I don't know
whose waters is it.
I don't know if we own it, or if we lease it, but it's basically ours. Okay. It's in the fucking ocean somewhere. I don't know where exactly Diego Garcia is. It's considered a halfway point.
It's supposed to be 2,200 miles to Iran.
Yeah, well, it's a halfway point to everywhere.
So Iran came out and said they're going to missile strike this place, and there's a lot of question as to whether they even have a missile that can touch it.
Yeah, I'm sure that Iran has a missile because again, now we're talking about 2,200 miles. We're talking about a ballistic missile. I'm sure Iran has a ballistic missile that could fly that distance.
So we currently have 5.
But
we currently have 5, if not 9, B-2 bombers. We only have 11 of them apparently. 5 of them
are probably Diego Garcia.
100% on Diego Garcia. Yeah. It is said that there is possibly 9 of them. The ordnance array of that thing is 5,000-pound bombs, 10,000-pound bombs. It carries 20,000-pound bombs all day long, and I believe there's a 35 ton bomb. Also, the Moab or whatever, the
Yeah.
deep penetrators.
Yeah.
So we're within range. Trump said, "You guys need to come over and have a conversation with us. You have 1 month to do it. If you don't, there's going to be hell to pay." And they basically said, "Hey, United States, fuck you." So he flew some fucking B-2s over there. They have now flown C-7. Is the C-17? That's our biggest plane,
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
But there's a tanker version of the C-17, is my understanding, and we have moved 4 of those outside the United States.
Understand, Diego Garcia is a logistical support facility for that side of the world. All that equipment's there. There's fucking B-52s there. All the, like when we went into the Gulf War and those fucking merchant marine ships showed up in Kuwait, or, they showed up in Kuwait or Saudi Arabia, and we're offloading all the LAVs and shit, all the war stock. All that's at Diego Garcia. So Diego Garcia is... It's not a thing that you would have to reinforce.
So the mass media talk everywhere for the last 5 days is that there might be 1 B-2 in the area, but we currently have 5, and now it is said there are 9, and we only own 11 of them apparently.
I wouldn't be too sure about those numbers. Now the problem with the B-2 is the same problem with any of the stealth technology equipment in general. A very high maintenance. Mm-hmm. So the reality is Diego Garcia, and again, I don't know because I'm not in the military right now. I would assume that on a regular rotation that the B-2s weren't there anyways. That they would be in Guam or Okinawa, or because of the type of maintenance they need, right?
So let's say they are there.
Yeah, what?
And the ordnance is there. They're loaded up, and they do strike Iran.
But I think the problem here is we're focusing on a thing that's not necessary. Like, we're focusing on the B-2. Well, who cares? Okay. There's fucking B-1 Lancers there. There's fucking B-52s. They could strike all that. The B-52, B-52 compared to the B-1 bomber is like comparing a fucking a UPS truck to a semi truck.
So a B-52 is a much newer.
No, B-52's old.
Okay.
B-52's old.
But the payload.
But the payload is greater. Like the reality is
the B-2 is the giant wing looking thing.
Yeah,
right?
B-2 is the giant wing thing. The reality is stealth aircraft in general. When you think about stealth aircraft in general,
is there some concern that if we were going to fly over and bomb, because the reason they're there is because of the massive payload, they can take those 35,000-pound bombs or whatever,
but
deep strike.
What I'm saying is the B-2 or it can't carry as much as the fucking B-52.
Okay, so
it carries way less.
Can the B-52 be shot down easier? I think that's why.
Well, in theory, yes. In theory, yes, but you have to remember.
Don't we have something we could just launch there without flying over them?
Yeah, we have all kinds of shit. I mean, the reality is Iran. So if you think Iran strategically, if you think about Iran's defensive systems, the Iranians are probably.
They're saying our most sophisticated submarine is there also currently.
Yeah, it's been there since the war broke out in Lebanon. Or in Palestine. The Iranians are probably at like 1980, right?
Have you seen all their videos? They keep showing their videos of their deep underground missile bases and how they have all these, their whole aircraft fleet is in the tunnel and they just fly out.
The Israelis attacked one of those complexes that had long-range missiles in it, and they attacked it with CH-53s. Commandos, but again... And nobody got shot down. There was never a threat. They supported that operation with F-15 Eagles.
Iran?
Yeah, they supported that operation with F-15 Eagles. Nobody got shot down. The Iranians don't have the capability. I mean, again, they have SAM-7s. Are they not SAM-7? They have the big ones that the North Vietnamese used to shoot down fucking B-52s when we were striking North Vietnam. It's a possibility that a B-52 could get shot down. But the technology is still 30 years. Like, I am sure that the fucking B-52s right now have the electronic warfare equipment aboard to make those fucking missiles useless. And not only that, the carrier group has all the fucking anti-radiation missiles to fucking shoot every radar system that the Iranians have turned on. So again, if we do it the way you're supposed to do it, and you use stealth aircraft to take out those anti-air things, and then you bring in the fucking semi-trucks of the sky, the B-52s, there's just, I mean, I'm not trying to give the Air Force a lot of credit, but the B-52, there's a reason why we keep upgrading that motherfucker. There's a reason why it is still in service to this day. And there's a reason why they're looking at service of the B-52 for another 25 years.
Do you think we'll strike Iran?
Yeah. Oh,
You think we are going to strike Iran?
I've been saying it for a year.
I know you have.
The goal is to go
Are
to
you
war with
aware
Iran.
there was a $20 billion buy on gold yesterday?
I know gold is going through the
So
roof.
much so that they can't fill it. They're like scurrying, like,
'Cause
where are we going to get this from?
Because the reality
It's a
is
store of wealth. When countries
Wars.
see economies collapsing,
it's not economies. It's not economies.
countries see
When we see world war on the horizon, gold prices go through
never
the
go
roof.
to zero. Yeah.
World war, so again, you have a. I mean, if you
but
think
nobody
about it-
knows who bought that. Do we know who that was?
No, I don't know. It doesn't matter. And when you think about, you have most outside of Poland and a couple other countries, most European countries are on the verge of collapse. They're on the verge of collapse. Now, one of two things are going to happen. Those countries are going to collapse, and their real citizens, meaning the French, the real Germans, are going to stand up and retake their country and reestablish their national sovereignty.
They have guns.
Yeah, they're going to have guns. But they're either going to reestablish their national sovereignty and follow the fucking constitutions that they all have, or two, they will lose their countries to the fucking influx of migrants from all over the world, and now you will have unstable, unhinged motherfuckers with nuclear weapons. The continent is in flux.
Can they use them?
Yeah, they can use them.
Okay.
They can use them.
I'm picturing a motherfucker with a machete.
Some of those, here's the reality, is some of those dudes that you see running around with machetes have graduated from
Harvard,
yeah. Cambridge.
Yeah, like Bin Laden.
Yeah, so yeah, they can, and the reality is, you know, I'll give you a prime example. Iran was a decently stable country until the overthrow of the Shah. Now the Shah was good or bad, it doesn't matter. He was overthrown. He was overthrown by the mob. Now that mob still was able to operate F-14 Tomcats. More aircraft were shot down by the Iranian Air Force in Tomcats than all of our Tomcat pilots put together over the years that we had Tomcats. So they were still effective with that equipment. You look at Afghanistan. Now, ain't no motherfuckers graduating from Harvard and Yale in Afghanistan. These dudes are making bullets from scratch, and they were still able to operate most of our equipment.
Well, they also crashed it all.
Well, I would assume that's not true either. There's the propaganda of it all saying, I guarantee you that there is still, yes, there's a ton of equipment. There is a ton of equipment that is useless, that they can't maintain, right? They can't maintain. I promise you that there are Black Hawks flying in Taliban-controlled areas. That they're very resourceful, right? They're very resourceful. Yes, there are some technical aspects of it, but they're very resourceful. I would, you know, there's a fucking pretty decent video of in Libya. You know, Libya totally fucking melted down, but there's an aircraft, I can't think of what it was. It's like a MiG-20 something. But the Libyans had actually taken the complete wing structure off an aircraft that couldn't fly and put it on this other aircraft and made that motherfucker fly around. There's capability. There's just not, they just don't have war capability. Meaning if the Taliban had to meet in the desert against a really equipped military, and they had to fight like a real equipped military, and they had to use the stuff that we left them, they would get fucking toasted. But if they're just doing Taliban shit, then a fucking MRAP is cool as fuck, right? I guarantee you every warlord has an MRAP, a fucking up-armored Humvees, and they got dudes that can keep them running.
Most of these police departments can't keep fucking MRAPs running.
Well, again, the difference is the police department doesn't have to.
Right.
Right? If I guarantee you, if the requirement was for example, the status symbol of having that piece of equipment operating as a fucking warlord within the Taliban regime, you're going to get it running. Now, 20 years, probably none of that shit's going to work. Like 20 years, it'll just be wore out, right? They're going to wear it out. But again, we're talking about right now. So yes, if the fucking, if let's say Germany falls to the fucking horde, their equipment is going to be fine. Like they're going to fall in on brand new shit.
Who's going to give it to them?
No, meaning if Germany itself falls as a country and gets taken over by the fucking mongrel horde,
the mongrel horde's equipment will be fine.
That equipment will be fine. They'll be able to walk into the fucking silo and see the nuclear missile and go, maybe we should blow up Israel, right? That is the reality of the way Europe is looking right now. Like, I don't know we would almost be better. The reality is, and I know people in Europe are going to fucking lose their shit. We would almost be better if the right wing took over, because the difference is one is going to toe the line for law and order for everyone, right? Not just the people you feel like you need to put in a corner. So it's a, did you see the fucking video of the dumbass who's in charge of Canada?
Tell me, I've seen several of them.
Basically, they were like, he's doing his second.
Apparently, he's been outside of Canada for the last 14 years.
Yeah.
He's been over in Europe.
And that's exactly, as soon as he got elected, well, he didn't get elected, guys. I'm sorry, Canada.
He just came in and said, hey, I'm the fucking guy.
Nobody voted for him, right? But after he gave his acceptance speech, he immediately flew back to Europe.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he came back to do another one to deal with Trump on tariffs. And then a reporter in the crowd was like, hey, Trump just put the tariffs on us. What are you going to do about it? He's like, what the fuck? And he leaves. Like, Canada.
51st state, buddy. Greenland, 52nd.
Canada. Come on now. Come on, Canada. You're better than this. You guys are better than this.
Somebody up there just said that there will never be a gas oil pipeline coming from Canada that goes to the United States. Pretty sure they have that backwards, doesn't it? Come to the United States to go to?
There's both. Like, we refine Canada's oil. Again, what people tend to not look at the reality of things. Canada, you're way too fucking small to be in a trade war with us. The reality is your leadership should be doing everything they can to ensure cooperation with the United States, because you only benefit from cooperation. And you guys need to start electing people. I don't know what you got going on over there right now with these douchebags that are running your country, but man, it's time for pitchforks, and it's time for you guys to get out and fucking,
So have you seen all
vote. I don't even care if you vote. The reality is, I don't even care if you vote liberal Democrats in.
Have you seen
At least you're voting.
Seen the people fucking stopping these Teslas and jumping out and confronting the Tesla drivers? You see the 61-year-old woman got punched in the face day before yesterday in Flagstaff. Dude jumps out, fucking attacks a 61-year-old woman, and she's like, same thing with the one in Oregon. I bought this because it's green, it's better for the environment, and now their side are attacking each other, and this lady's like, we're going to take gun lessons. Like, we didn't have a gun, we should have had a gun. Like, somebody's about to get killed over this shit.
The reality is, especially this Tesla thing. This Tesla thing is really only making more Republicans. You're not changing somebody's mind. You can't change somebody's mind about something by threatening their life. That doesn't change their mind. Yeah, you might get cooperation in the sense of, you got a bunch of fucking libtards running around selling their Teslas because they're afraid of getting confronted by other fucking fascists. But you're not changing their mind. That person is not going, wow, we got a great party because I sold my Tesla so I can buy a fucking Ford F-150?
They said they have 100% arrest rate. Every single one of these
9
people.
cameras.
So all of the Teslas.
9 cameras!
There's something called Centurion mode.
Yeah.
And they have fucking enabled that on every Tesla. So it has a proximity sensor, like halt, protected by Viper, right? It does that. It has that sensor so that it automatically, when somebody gets close, it turns on all the cameras. So you have all these fucking people doing all this crazy shit. Did you see the guy in Las Vegas walked in with an AR, fired at 3 different cameras, fires at the cameras, misses all the cameras. Where did the bullets go? Shoots, fucking dumps the mag into the dealership, and then proceeds to fucking set off some incendiaries of some sort and lit a bunch of Teslas on fire. Dude's in jail 30 years. They're throwing at him. Pam Bondi's like, we're not negotiating. 30 years, domestic terrorism. We're arresting every one of these fucking people, domestic terrorism, and we have 100%
well,
so far.
If you're a libtard and you get out of your car and you do damage, you do damage to another car, you paint a swastika on it, or you fucking scratch it, or you do whatever, they should be, the full extent of the law as far as property damage goes, they should be charged and they should go to jail. If you firebomb a Tesla, if you
Dude, they just
organize and firebomb, now I don't think 30 years, I think they need to fly those motherfuckers down to Guantanamo Bay. They
just had a Capitol building, or some federal building was just bombed also. They just had one of those go down again. Do you know any friends that would just reach in their pants and shit in their hands? You got any friends that would just pick up dog shit and just fucking squeeze it through their fingers? No, that's a fucking really weird thing.
No, it's mental illness.
It is.
The fucking left is
Yeah, we used to lock
ill.
those people away.
It's just a mental illness. You can't, there's no, I can see being at a point in your life. I can see being at a point in your life where I probably shouldn't say this. I can see being at a point in your life where you're pushed to the brink of madness, right? You're pushed to the brink of madness. So you buy a fucking D9 dozer and a bunch of armor plate, and you spend months in your garage welding this motherfucker.
They just had a dude fucking in a dozer the other day.
Welding this motherfucker together, and you go after the people that wronged you without killing anybody. I can see that planning phase and that execution. But to pick up dog shit because you see a Tesla,
shit. These
or
people
your own
are
shit, whatever it is,
in their own hands
and rubbing it on a car, that's a mental illness. That's just pure mental illness. Because the crazy thing is, do you see what happens? The crazy thing is, do you see what happens every time these people get caught? Like if they get caught and they're being videotaped, they melt down into a little ball. Like they don't understand what the fuck. And it's because we have created this social construct, especially on the left, where lawlessness doesn't get, if you can be lawless and you're not going to be prosecuted because you're on the side of right. If you burn something down, if you destroy property, you should be arrested. I don't care which side of the fucking fence you're on. You should be arrested and prosecuted to within the law of that thing. Doesn't matter. I don't care if you're fucking, you're protesting somebody's murder or you're protesting the burning of an American flag. If you commit a crime, you should be prosecuted to the full extent, and there is no reason. But the Democratic Party has allowed that side, the left, to continue to commit crimes without prosecuting them. And so that's why you have all these baby criminals.
They've been emboldened.
Yeah.
Right? And they've become desensitized, right? These are the same people that put up the black box for Floyd, the same people that put up the Ukrainian flag, right? And they got their little endorphin release when they did it, and they got all their attaboys on Facebook from it, and all their friends told them how fucking right they were. And now they have to get to that next level. They have to do the next thing. And there is no more just changing your profile, right? There is no current George Floyd or anything. So they're out there attacking Teslas and doing all this crazy shit.
Well, the problem, the reality is they don't, outside of minor property damage, right? You're keying the car, you're spray painting on the car. That's probably not going to get you any jail time, but it is going to put a spotlight on who you are. But these motherfuckers who are actually making Molotov cocktails and fire burning things.
Is that what? Because they keep saying incendiaries. I assumed it was like fireworks.
A Molotov cocktail.
Yeah,
is
I know.
considered an
Yeah,
incendiary.
and it's also a 10-year.
Yeah,
It's the same as having a machine gun.
Fucking bye. Enjoy the rest of your life. You know, the problem is, here's the problem. The problem is we're playing this. We're in the United States right now, and this is kind of the problem I have with Donald Trump with these executive orders. Is
Nothing solid.
We're just
nothing's
playing
in stone.
We're just playing tit for tat. That's all we're doing is we're playing tit for tat. I guarantee you, you know, every person that firebombed a Tesla, they could get prosecuted to the full extent of the law. They could get their 30 years of fucking jail time. They're all going to be looking for a pardon from the next Democratic president. And if we're doing tit for tat, that fucking asshole is going to look at this as like, oh, these are political prisoners. They were doing the Lord's work or whatever, and let them go. And so that's just going to embolden more violence. And there's the problem with emboldening more violence. Like this is the problem I have with the Democratic Party in general. You know, they used to be the party of peace. They used to be the party that didn't want to go to war. They used to be that party. They're emboldening their constituents to be violent to a certain extent, right?
Even calling for it.
Yeah, even calling for it. When that's not the side that has the capability of real violence. There's going to be a point, and this is kind of how I feel about Europe, is there's going to be a point where there's gonna be a fucking cleansing of the palate, where the right is gonna be finished with all this fucking ludicrous shit, and people are really gonna get hurt. Like, you know, again, Teslas burn up in the parking lot. Okay. He's got that dealership has insurance. Those cars are going to get covered. He's probably going to make more money off of it. It's good publicity for fucking Tesla, anyways. You know, that's fine. But there's going to be a point, like you already have reached this point where the right, you know, the right of this country was tired of the fucking left's shenanigans, and that's why you have Donald Trump as president. Like, you should be thankful. The reality is, the left should be thankful that we elected Donald Trump. Because the next step would have been much worse. There is a point where you can push people too far, where they just clean house. The left does not have the capability of doing that. And that's kind of what I see. That's why I say, you know, it's interesting to watch what's going on in Europe, and it's interesting to see the weakness of European leadership who is putting all this stuff on the candidates that are against them, because
doesn't the average person over there not have firearms?
True, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't, you know, the first French Revolution, they didn't have anything but pitchforks.
But they were kind of on par.
Mm.
No,
they weren't. They had the French had the army of Napoleon. They had guns, they had cannons, they had all that shit. It's no different than today. And the thing that people forget, the people that think that most people forget in politics in general, is yes, has the military system been infiltrated by left-wing thought? It has. There's a lot of left-wing things that are going on in our current military. But the guys who actually do the mission, the real dudes who do the mission, they're not left-wing. They're right-wing. And they're the ones with the guns. Doesn't fucking matter what, you know, trans, Hispanic, Latino, whatever in the Pentagon is doing. If the 1st Marine Division decides, if 1-7 decides that they really decide they're gonna take up arms against the left, there's nothing anybody can do about that. Nothing. So that's the real I mean, you know, that's the real thing. And you just have to hope that we never get to that point.
What do you think happened over in South Korea where the president...
I don't know. That kind of disappeared really quick.
Yeah.
And they immediately gave us $1 billion to build a steel factory?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. All right, guys, that's Pulling the Thread podcast episode 111. We've got a bunch of other stuff we have to go do right now, so thank you for listening. If you use any Amazon, if you shop on Amazon, if you would click any of our links, that will populate a cookie, help support the show by giving us a little bit of money that you would have otherwise given to Amazon.
Amazon.
Code
I don't use
SOE
Amazon.
will get you $50 off your EMP Shield order.
You're going to have to do something special, Bezos, if you want me to use Amazon.
Code SOE Gear will get you 20% off Redcon 1. We'll see you guys next week.
I built this thing from the bottom, they tore it down, I rebuilt it. I give myself a task, you can bet your